Here, we're closing the loop from insights to actions, and in this series, we're looking at identifying and building real-world use cases using ThoughtSpot agentic AI capabilities and AI solutions embedded where your customers and users are. The context here is that an autonomous AI agent is monitoring the data to find patterns and anomalies, while simultaneously comparing with other customer attributes, such as in this example, other health issues. For example, a person with asthma would have very different thresholds to others. Imagine an IoT device monitoring conditions on a user via a fitness tracker or similar, and alerting the user when conditions change. The agent knows that the user in this scenario has health conditions, and therefore the threshold at which they should receive a message notifying them. This threshold will be different to other users based on these known health issues. Of course, changes in body temperature, body conditions, as well as changes in external temperature will affect someone with asthma, for example, very differently to someone without, and so on. That level of sensitivity can be programmed into an agent. In this type of scenario, usually someone would manually go and monitor the data coming back from the sensors and then reach out for any specific advice, for example, how to manage the change in blood pressure, for example. Here, the agent is constantly running and based on their conditions is sending out a customized message via WhatsApp to exactly where the customers are. The AI agentic agent can be seen as a tireless teammate working with you. So let's look at the architecture behind this. So you can see in this architecture diagram, on the left we've got the elements that are inputting to this process. So we've got the memory, we've got LLMs and MCP servers, and we have goals or target files. These are all feeding into ThoughtSpot agents, and in turn these are feeding into actions, and that is going to where you or your customers are. You can see at the top we've got the continuous observations, and what this means is that the interactions that are going to the customer and the interactions coming from the customer are feeding back into the ThoughtSpot agents, and then the cycle repeats itself. ThoughtSpot is talking to where your data resides, and then integrated with the choice of your LLM if required, and further integrated to where your insights need to be delivered for actions. ThoughtSpot has its own MCP server, which can communicate with other LLMs or other agents. Okay, so let's see this in action. So in this instance, we're looking at an IoT device connected via WhatsApp interface. The device is sending its data back to the database, which in turn has been picked up by ThoughtSpot, and then the MCP server is able to send out a message to WhatsApp on the user's phone. Here we see the user receive a message in WhatsApp, which has originated from their fitness tracker that they're wearing, and it's picked up that the user has high blood pressure. The message indicates the blood pressure details, some detail around the exact numbers, what they could mean, and then steps to reduce this risk going forward. Additionally, based on the data for this user, the AI is able to translate the message into a different language if desired. Because this is WhatsApp, with the ability to interact with the AI, the user can of course respond. So the user requests yes and receives the messages in the different language. And because this is a conversational approach to the data, the user can then just ask another follow-up question. So they're asking for some clarification and for some more detail on the previous message. So that's the question that's getting sent back to the AI agent, which in turn translated from natural language into SQL, going back to the data. The AI agent is then querying the database, coming back to the user via the MCP server with the answer to their question for last week's average blood pressure score. It's going to give a chart as well, based on the type of data in question, to help the user understand the information. Finally, in this example, the user gets the option of would they like to speak to someone with a yes or no checkbox. So this is all around the interactivity between a user in their application, such as WhatsApp, and the underlying data architecture, such as ThoughtSpot. At this point, the user selects yes to speak to somebody, and then the agent is able to put them in touch with the appropriate person.